Hi, babe, you okay?
Good, thank you. You're looking all Rapunzel-y, all Disney princess.
Yeah,
with
well, I mean, I've got to do something because I can't get to the hairdresser. So I just thought, rather than shave it off, I'll give it a couple of weeks and just tie it back. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I am good. Surviving quarantine. We're obviously a few weeks behind you, or a week or so behind you.
Yeah, we've. I came over here to because our business is here, and I just thought, oh my god, you know, like you see in the movies, and you just like end up having like homes repossessed because we're English or something like that. So this was my mum's home, and she left it to me when she died. So we run a business out of it now. We rent it out, and that's our income. So I just thought, oh my god, I'm going to lose that. So we got the last flight out, and then when we were in the air, somebody said, we were on EasyJet, and somebody said that Jet2 had been grounded. So we literally got like one of the last flights, got here, and then within hang on a sec, Osa. Oh my god. The movie's finished. All right, I'll come and see you in a sec, Reg. That's number 3.
Home life.
So basically, yeah, we came out here and they hit a massive lockdown, and it was chaos in the supermarkets and everything. And it just, for some reason, it felt really scary because I was in a foreign country. And then all of a sudden, after the lockdown hit, everything just got serious but very calm. And like, they obviously, you know what the police are like out here, they have like armed guards and everything. So straight away you were into a proper movie. Yeah. So I kind of took it really seriously, and I put like disinfectant at the front door for when Matthew came back in. He'd like have to step into it like foot and mouth disease, like a cow. And and like we've had all the gloves and everything. So we've been doing that for quite a while now.
So you're still on full lockdown?
Yeah. I think we've got till, I think the next review is 18th of April. Yeah. Because now there's absolutely no one working except doctors and people who work in supermarkets. Right. So there's no deliveries, nothing. There's there's no takeaways, no restaurants, nothing. Everyone is at home. Yeah. And they don't have the infrastructure like our government do. They don't have like people getting paid 80% of the wages. You are just out. You're on your own. There's like massive panic.
How are people coping with that over there? Have you spoken to anybody else who's there?
They're not at all. There's like, you know, there's like ruptions because people can't afford to buy food. They live in hand to mouth. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'd imagine riots or something a bit like in Italy. So I mean, you just I know. So it's quite scary, really.
Yeah, you don't realise actually how lucky you are, do you, being over here? I mean, obviously, I am quite jealous of your sunshine over there. But contrary to here, but
it's torrential rain. We've had floods, so it's kind of good we were here because Matthew's been able to deal with the floods.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's the rainy season anyway. It's never sunny at Easter, but no, you just realise how righteous our government are and how they scoop up the people in need, even though like, there's all tons of horrific stories. But yeah, people are just out on their arses here. They have nothing, and it's like tough, every man for himself. So.
Scary times. So today, we're going to have a chat about your life story, but with particular reference to mental health. We're obviously doing this to raise a bit of money for Mind charity as well, and there's a link in to donate in the comments, etc. But your story, I mean, kind of going back, I know you from college days. At that point, you are probably the most beautiful girl in the college, without doubt. Daughter of a millionaire, you know, beautiful lifestyle, the girl who had it all. I
think that makes straight away it puts you on the back foot because people naturally hate you anyway, and you're sort of always defensive anyway. Yeah. I mean, it's very nice for you to say, but you kind of just want to blend in, really, anyway.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. I mean, so I was saying, let's talk about that, because what I want to do is take you right back to the beginning, come all the way through, and talk about the journey, because your journey is actually quite incredible, and the person that you are today. Is also, you know, there's a massive difference from the life, you know, 10, 12, 15 years ago. So let's go back to the beginning and talk to me about that time. So what was your growing up life like?
Yeah, I mean, it was nice. I was an only child, which was a bit sad and quite lonely. So going through like the steps of recovery, and which is like through the doors of AA and everything, you start to reflect on your first addictive behaviours. And I used to daydream a lot. Because, I mean, we lived in a really nice house. My mum and dad working class. self-made millionaires. Mum was a hairdresser, then my dad used to be a door-to-door salesman, and then they got together, and then they created AM Paper, manufactured toilet rolls, which I'm sure my dad would still love to be in that business now. But straight after I was born, my mum got cancer. And so she couldn't have any more children on the advice of the oncologist. Obviously, you can't have any more kids. So basically, I was brought up in a lovely little farmhouse. Obviously, my mum wanted to get out of the city life that she had, because she was like in a tower block, and she wanted me to be surrounded by fields and everything. But with that came a deep loneliness. And I started sort of like daydreaming a lot and escaping and using my imagination, but to an extent, because of course we didn't have TVs, or I didn't have computer games or anything like that. There was no interaction. So I think that was the first point of call where I noticed how much I hated my own company. So I used to sort of like drift into another world quite readily, and I daydream, and that's often a sign, the beginning of an addictive behavior, escapism. And not wanting to be where you are, and a deep sense of loneliness. And I thrive on connection. I mean, I love company. So for me, as a person, I was born, it was horrible to be isolated at such a young age for months on end, apart from going to school and coming back. So summer holidays I'd dread, because I'd be on my own for, like a good 8 weeks. So, and
what was school? So was school boarding school? Were you with other people there, or was it just general school at that point?
Initially, I just went to a normal junior school, and then the headmistress said, because I was quite good at sport, she said there was a boarding school opportunity, and I think she could probably see that I was fundamentally lonely, or I don't know. She was pretty. It was only a tiny junior school in Ormskirk, and she said, "How about Davinia take the exam for a sports school, but it's boarding school?" And my mum was like, hell no, I don't want her to go, And I like begged her, and I said, please let me go, please. And she said, well, you can go as a weekly boarder. So I'd go away to boarding school and have the working week with all my friends at school, and then I'd have to come home when it was like fun time. Right. So once again, I'd be dragged from all my friends that I've made. They were like my sisters, I guess. And then I'd come home and I'd sit with the adults and wait till I could go back to school to see my friends again.
Yeah.
But so yeah, basically, I mean, I was no abuse, no trauma, nothing. I think there was just that. I just suddenly realised I really needed the power of escapism, and that was the basis of what soon eventually became alcoholism, and my drive to just escape my reality, no matter how luxurious it looked. There was something that wasn't sitting quite right with me.
Yeah. And then so you were at that boarding school till the end of seniors, and I think we've spoken before about, I'm sure you've told me stories of climbing out the window and going partying at a fairly early age. So
yeah, I mean, that again, I suddenly fell in love with the whole excitement, the adrenaline, the dopamine rush, that going out, and the whole interaction it gave me. So at a very young age, I was, even before alcohol had passed my lips, I was definitely addicted to the dopamine rush and that excitement. And that is what my body and brain craved from a very young age.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are like that, aren't they? I'm a little bit like that. So if I'm not, doing something constantly, I kind of fall into a bit of a decline and a bit of a depression. And that's always been a bit of an issue for me, because you can't run at that speed forever, if that makes sense.
No, I mean, it is, I mean, I've looked into it at great lengths, and it is being able to balance your hormones. And obviously you've got your drive, which is your dopamine, which a lot of us are addicted to without even knowing it. And then you've got the other hormone, which is another happy hormone. It's called serotonin, and that gives you the connected feeling, the wellness feeling, and that is what you should drive. That's what you should aim for. That's like that family wellness feeling,
Yeah.
Whereas it's so tempting to go for the dopamine, the hit classes, the running a business, the money making, the whole sense of high achievement. But obviously that depletes your serotonin as well. So it's all about being able to balance it. And I didn't know when I was drinking, I was pushing the dopamine up to a point of burning the serotonin out. And that's what you learn in AA rooms, is basically that's why you get that wellness feeling. It's that feeling of connection. And that's talking to other people and not being judged, and just feeling like you're connected. And that's how that works, basically. It is just hormones.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And a few people on the comments as well saying that they totally relate to that.
Yeah,
So post school, we obviously met at Winstanley. So we went to sixth form college together. And that was a bit of a departure then from boarding school. And I know you joined with Claire as well, didn't you? Who you had been to school with before.
Yeah, because I left boarding school because I'd started going out. I realised that I could have even more dopamine by going out. So I decided to come out of boarding school, and that was easy to persuade my mum because she wanted a daughter back home. But oh my God, then I started going out, and I went to an all-girls school, which was pretty brutal actually, going to an all-girls school at 14, really nasty bullying. And, you know, they just lay into me. And in fact, my best mate now, Claire, she used to bully me. And I just thought, well, if you can't beat them, join them. So I ended up kind of befriending her. And you know, we're best friends now. I mean, that often happens. It's everyone, I thought you were right, bitch. But now we're best friends like 30 years later.
Yeah.
So I went to that school, and it was a highly academic school, you know, really pushy school. I just about winged the old GCSEs while combining the hacienda as well, and all nighters and cream. How the hell, you know? But just about, and they eventually said, we don't want you to come back for sixth form, you two. So off you go. And then you ended up with us.
Yeah.
No, but Winstanley was really nice. It was like it was a bit American, wasn't it? It was like a high school sort of thing. You could wear your own clothes. Yeah. And that was a big thing, you know, and you could drive there and everything. It was like an American high school.
Yeah, I actually went there because I stayed on at sixth form of my own school, then realised that it was actually just the same as school, but I wasn't wearing my uniform, hated that. Went to Wigan College, hated that, and thought, yeah, I loved it at Winstanley. It was a great environment. It was a great environment. So from there, you know, some of the memories from there for you were, you know, that kind of turn into that celebrity lifestyle started to happen whilst you were at college. So I think you got the part in Hollyoaks as Jude Cunningham. I also remember the Ryan Giggs scenario. So I think you went out with Ryan Giggs. We had paparazzi at the school. So talk to me about the switch at Winstanley. So, you know, you got the part in Hollyoaks at that point, I think.
Yeah, so basically I went for an audition because I was studying performing arts and theatre studies. Always wanted to be in the theatre or on TV or something, again, dopamine driven. And also I always thought people who were famous had a sense of approval. Straight away people liked them, or they were protected in a bubble. So I don't know if that was my low self-esteem or something that drove me to that, or my lack of confidence in my academic ability. I'm not entirely sure, but there's something driving me towards the performing arts. Maybe I could just do a good accent, I don't know. But I remember when I was doing performing arts, I did the audition, got offered the part, and I asked my acting tutor, who was the teacher there at the college, and she said, listen, what the hell are you doing here anyway? You know, if you've got the part, this is why you're here, just go for it. So my poor dad just went, what? Anyway, so I walked out of college, and, you know, I got a good wage, so he liked that. But I went straight over to Liverpool and filmed there. And obviously the party really kicked off then because I had my own cash.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, it was so funny, honestly. The stories I couldn't tell you about that cast and crew. I mean, but do you know what it was like? It was just like uni, but we all had like a disposable income.
Were you living in the houses? Because there was a boys' house and a girls' house at one point.
I was
right.
Always there, like a spare part. No, because my mum still wanted me at home, so I didn't live in the cast house.
Right.
But I always like 2-day benders and everything. Oh my God! And I've now made friends again with Paul Danan, who played Sol. Oh my God, he is so hysterical. And I'm just talking to him the other day. I want to do some theatre with him again, just because he's just infectious. He's like a big puppy dog, and he still falls in love with everyone all the time. Every time I used to work with him, he's like opposite me, and if you're looking over my shoulder, you go, yeah, well, isn't she lovely? Look at her. So please don't fall in love with one of the supporting artists again. Before you know it, he's off with her.
What's he doing now?
He's in love with everyone now. So I do miss those. I do miss those cast and crew relationships. Actually, again, that's it. Connection and relationships, and just having banter all the time, and that self of like that yeah, just that bonding with people. I loved doing that show. I mean, it wasn't flipping. Don't get me wrong, we weren't doing check off. Do you know what I mean? But we had a laugh doing it, and it was a baptism of fire into the party scene. Oh my god! But,
and then where did you go?
Casualties, but I came back with it.
Yeah, where did you go from there then? So from Hollyoaks, at what point did you make the move to London?
I think it was almost immediately, actually. I went down there and I rented a flat, and of course Nick Pickard, who played Tony, he's still in Hollyoaks now. He's a proper West London boy, so I didn't know anyone down there except him and a couple of his mates, but that was so me. I'm very much jumping like at the deep end, and I knew I'd find friends, you know, because that I just like talking to strangers, you know. I just like strangers. So before I knew it, I got like well connected with a sort of party scene down there, and I made a few films, and I went out with this record producer. God, he was bad news. He was quite a few years older than me. Let me think. I was 21. I think he was 37, 38.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, but I mean, again, my poor dad, my poor mother, you know, but he was like on another level of like social. I mean, he was pretty brutal. He's a great friend, he's a nightmare boyfriend, you know, the usual thing. But he introduced me to a lifestyle that was like a million miles away from like hanging out in Hollyoaks and like going to town and getting smashed or going to bee's knees or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like ridiculous. You know, this is like going to Thailand and stuff and hanging out with like Yasmin Le and people. It was just like, hell, you know.
And how did you take to that? Were you like a duck to water, or was that like an alien environment for you at the time?
No, it's I'm quite a chameleon. I can sort of change with my environment. I'm very quite detrimental to myself because I don't trust my own being. So I will sort of adapt to whatever sort of water I'm in, and I will sort of take on certain personas and stuff. And I think that's what eventually just completely made me implode in the end, because I was just trying to be something I wasn't. And it's hard work acting. You know, it's hard work sort of keeping up the energy and keeping up that, oh, that's good, when you think it's shit. It's like I was hanging around with a load of rock and roll people. And I don't even like guitar music. I like piano classics and handbag music. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you try and fit in.
Happy. And they all want to be like Morrissey. And I'm like, I friggin' hate it, but okay, it's cool.
Yeah,
I mean? So,
and do you think that came, because I have been in the past very much like that as well, and I always put that down to having moved about a little when I was younger, and also moving from being born in Birmingham to then moving up to Stockport, which at the time was like a really racist white town where the National Front would protest, and I had a Birmingham accent and I wasn't white, and I really wanted to fit in. So I think I've carried that through my life, that desire to, until probably more recently, being desperate to fit in, like you say, changing yourself to kind of fit your surroundings in order to be accepted. And that's, again, a self-esteem thing, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, because none of us want to be rejected. That is like our primary protective mechanism, because, I mean, obviously, if you go back a few thousand years, if you were rejected by your tribe, that meant death. So, you know, you that is your innate sort of survival mechanism, and there's no way that you're going to evolve that out of that, because that is a primary instinct to be accepted and be liked. But I think it's when you start building your own tribe, like you have a man in your life who loves you, and you have kids that need you, and you have friends like I've got Claire, who knows me inside out, upside down, in my worst and best days. And then all of a sudden you can go, actually, I'm all right. But I think that only comes with time. Yeah. You know, and I think, well, we're 42 now. Yeah. And
we are. Unfortunately.
But do you know what? But my head says, like, I could have sworn I'm 32. I'm like, are you sure?
Do you know, for the first time ever this year, I forgot how old I was, which was really depressing. Because I've always said, actually, I've never been one of those people who thinks, oh, you know, I still feel 25. I don't. I've always felt exactly the age that I am. But this year, I was like, how old am I again? I'm 41. No, I'm actually 42.
Oh my God, I'm 42. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we're getting like that. It's, early onset dementia probably, or denial. Probably denial.
So, so you're in London, you've met all of these new people. I think it's fairly well documented that you then kind of fell in with the Primrose Hill set, so you live in this glamorous lifestyle. Presumably at the beginning,
remember,
loving it.
When you say it's glamorous, it's not glamorous because it's a lot of hangovers and there's a lot of running around and there's a lot of arguing and there's a lot of breakups. It just happened to be in a nice postcode. And by the way, all the houses are like this big because it's so expensive to buy land down there. So it's not, you know, it's much more glamorous than Cheshire.
Yeah. And is that where so you bought Supernova Heights, didn't you? Noel Gallagher's old house. Was that where that was?
Yeah. So that's just outside of Primrose Hill. Yeah, I bought that. I got to know Meg, who I love, and I've just done a live thing with her actually. She's great. But yeah, Meg and I are still good mates, so that's like 25 I suppose years as well, or something stupid like that. But no, my dad and mum decided to buy me an investment with their money. They bought me Supernova Heights because they weren't about to give me money because I'm clearly cooking. So that remained their house. I just lived in it, if you know what I mean. So my dad's not stupid. He didn't sort of spoil me. He just went, yeah,
there's somewhere to live
for your kids, you know. So that's how my dad operates. He doesn't get me anything unless it's a good investment. Great place to live. Love that house, and had a billion zillion parties there. Really hardcore parties, and I loved it. And that's before it got sort of dark, or I couldn't get out of the darkness, or before I got physically addicted to alcohol. That was when it was still a laugh. That was when it was still exciting. That was when I was still buzzing off meeting new people. It was like another, probably I'd say about 6 years before all of a sudden I wanted to isolate just me and the booze. So that's when it took that's when it turned on me. But having said that, it was sapping my confidence, and it was stopping me from going to auditions, and it was, in essence, I mean, I was getting bad press because of it. So I was sort of falling out with my family. Yeah, so basically the alcohol was isolating me from my true friends, you know, but it's all I had in common with these other friends.
Yeah,
basically.
And you probably maybe not realised it at that point. So even though that was happening, you just hadn't realised it.
Well, it's a disease of denial anyway. And I was desperate to just be accepted into that gang and to stay part of it and to keep up with. And it's all the usual stuff. I mean, it's quite immature, really. But that's where I was up to. I mean, it's arrested development, I suppose. So once you start drinking or using drugs or acting compulsively, that's kind of like where you stop growing mentally. You arrest your development mentally. And that's where you stay stuck. So I probably stayed stuck at 20, even though I was pushing 30.
Right. Yeah.
My instincts were all skew-if, you know. Yeah. The feeling of responsibility filled me with dread because I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
So with that, you get self-esteem nosedive and everything. So
yeah. So talk to me about. So you're in this kind of bubble. You're in London. It probably is negatively affecting you, but you maybe haven't realised it yet or acknowledged it yet. At what point did that change? At what point was it not fun anymore?
Okay. Well, already I'd had an intervention by my friends who I party with, which is a funny kind of intervention. And they said, you know, you need to stop drinking, blah, blah, blah. We're worried about you. And I'm just like, oh, shut up. And yeah, and then obviously it's a disease of denial. And so I just thought, okay, I can control it. The trouble with alcoholism and addiction back then, so maybe that's probably about 15 years ago, there was nothing out there like there is now to explain the whole denial process and to know that there's no sort of like when is enough. And it was all very hush hush, like AA was hush hush, and you have to give up drinking and that's the end and your life will change. So I mean, it's all or nothing. And there was no sort of medical interventions, because I don't know if you've ever been like in withdrawal from anything. It's really tough mentally and physically. So you don't want to go there, you know, particularly if you've not got kids or responsibilities. I'm like, just fuck off. I want to laugh, you know, leave me alone.
Yeah.
But I went to rehab and did a month in there, residential rehab. And that was pretty tough actually. And it's a 12-step program. and you've got to think about God, and you've got to hand your life over to God. And I'm like, God, this is shit. I'll just hold on and I'll wait till I get out. And of course I did. I waited till I got out, and then we had another month, and then I had
because you're not spiritual at all, are you? We've talked about this before.
No,
you don't subscribe to that, so it probably doesn't hit the mark for you.
I get all the crystals, and I get all that. I just bet that's just spending addiction, and I get all the stuff and all the clink, 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 and it doesn't work. So no, I try, and I find what works with me is sort of scientific facts, like knowing about dopamine, knowing about serotonin, knowing about how to use IV drips to curb the cravings, this sort of thing, that helps me. Knowing my genetic predisposition to be dopamine driven. I mean, how the hell does my dad and mum become multimillionaires from nothing unless they're dopamine driven? I'm bound to have got that. I just unfortunately didn't channel it in the right direction. I channeled it to the pub. You know, I made them rich, but not me. So,
different drivers though, and different needs.
I mean, but don't get me wrong, if I was on an airplane, if I ever get on one again and it was going down, I'd pray. So that's
in there somewhere.
Do you know what I mean? If I were, you know, when my mum was dying, I prayed. I am aware of the power of prayer and manifestation and stuff, but me on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't rock my world. I don't get much peace out of it. I've got my own sort of protocols and interventions that I use that get me in a far happier place much quicker. And I've been at this for quite a while now. I've been 11 years sober, and I've been trying to get sober for 15. So I know which way I operate now.
So when you came out of that first stint in rehab, obviously you weren't totally bought into that.
Because I told everyone I could drink red wine.
Right.
So that was the problem. It was the white wine and the vodka. So I'll be having red wine with dinner, guys.
Oh my God.
I'm bored.
And how did that work for you?
And how did that work out for me? Well, after my second bout in rehab, I went in, let's see, I think I did another 3 times. I remember going to the Priory and doing 3 days, and then walking out and going to the pub in Roehampton, all this sort of thing. In the end, it was toxic friends, not necessarily them, but the situations and their situations. And it was lowering my moral compass, and the things that I'd accept in my life and the things that I was doing in my life were just unproductive. I mean, you either fight or you die, don't you, in that situation? And it was life and death. I remember when I did check into this. So the rehabs in South Africa are like a quarter of the price of the ones in the UK, or maybe even like a sixth of the price. They are so much cheaper. And the great thing about me going down there was I was on a different continent. They take your phone off you, they take your credit card off you, they take your passport off you. So even me in my most manipulative, wildly alcoholic state, I could not get back to ground zero, which was central London. So that was good. So I was trapped there, and I did 3 months hard rehab. And sorry, what did you say? What was I saying then? Matthew's phone's ringing.
So I'd said to you, so it essentially, with all the interventions that you'd had, it was your own inner strength ultimately that flicked that switch to make that change.
Yeah, I think, and I think being in South Africa helped as well, because I was in a foreign land and, you know, I had no other choice really.
And where did you go from there then? So you come out of rehab and your mindset is different and your priorities are different, and you know what you've got to do, and you've got that fighting spirit. How do you get from kind of there to where you are today? Because you have got custody back of Gray, and you've now got 4 gorgeous boys, and you live a completely different lifestyle. So what was the process to get from A to B, and what was the mindset process as well?
Well, I lost my mum to cancer, unfortunately. It was the second time round. She'd had breast cancer, and she was misdiagnosed a few times and everything. And eventually, when the UK said there's nothing they could do for her, I was pregnant at the time, and they said, just get your affairs in order, etc., etc. And I spoke to this woman, an Iranian woman, who is my neighbour in London, and she said, you need to get to Germany. She says that it's a different world over there. And so I persuaded my mum. I said, Mum, let's like try and buy a bit of time. Let's go to Germany for what it's worth. And we did. We went over to Germany, and it was a different world. The way that they attacked the cancer, the way that, I mean, it is, the German machine of efficiency is unbelievable. You have tests and you have the results within the afternoon, and then you have the treatment next morning.
Yeah.
And it's targeted treatments. And this is like 6 years ago, and already back then they were doing targeted treatment. Like, they'd obviously take a biopsy of the tumor and then get the DNA of that particular tumor, do an experiment on it as to what chemos work, what proteins would attack it, and what would stop it from mutating and coming back. That's what they were doing back then, and they were doing it so quickly and precisely that eventually my mum got another 9 months, and she met Asa. That's the one that just came in before.
Yeah.
She managed to hold him as well, which, you know, I'll be eternally grateful for. But what got me thinking about that was, wow, DNA. That's incredible. So obviously, I tell you who was doing it, Angelina Jolie. She just had, she got the BRCA gene, etc. So
Yeah.
she'd had the mastectomy and everything. So I was thinking, okay, I'll check myself for that. And then I really got interested in DNA, and I wanted to know why someone without trauma like me, because when you go into the rooms of AA, you hear the most horrific stories about child abuse and, you know, real trauma. And I was feeling guilty. I said, like, okay, I was a bit bored and lonely as a kid, but there is no reason why I should be getting sympathy from these people. It's freaking wrong. It's indulgent. So why the hell was I drinking to an extent that I was? What was I blocking out? And that's when I got into genetics and realizing I've got certain pathways and certain predispositions that would gear me for alcoholism, that do gear me to be dopamine driven. But also there's another thing called epigenetics, which is, so you've got the double helix with your genes on that give you your eye color, give you your height, give you your fast twitch muscles. Are you going to be a sprinter or are you going to be a long distance runner? This sort of thing. They give you that. Now that's set in stone. But what also they've got non-coding DNA around that double helix, and that's called epigenetics, and that's trauma, inherent trauma from several generations ago. Now I was like, what? So there's this rat study in New York. So basically, I might bore you with this, but it's super interesting, and I think the kids are coming in. So they get a rat study. So you get a male rat, and what they did was they put it in a cage and they pumped through a smell of cherry blossom. And every time the rat smelt the cherry blossom, it got an electric shock. So after a certain amount of time, without giving it electric shock, it smelled the cherry blossom and it'd shudder.
Right.
Now, what was interesting about, so that's learned sort of like reaction, that's trauma. So what was really interesting about this, that rat's grandson, so going down through the male sperm, when they pumped cherry blossom into that cage, it shuddered without an electric shock.
Wow.
So
okay.
Information and passed down its genetics
through their DNA. Right. That's incredible.
I know. So something that could have happened to my grandmother or my great-grandmother or my great-grandfather, remember we had the war as well, that makes me so dopamine driven that I reach for a glass. And I can detox alcohol so well without getting sick that, of course, I'm going to drink more and more and more. And it's just a perfect storm to create me the alcoholic that I am, and I always will be until they get a cure, which I'm not really interested in right now. But but it's
that's amazing. So that is probably something that it would be great for everybody to have at a younger age, to understand what they're predisposed to, and also what they could be good at, or what they could, what they're going to excel in.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's not, the great thing about genes is they're not your destiny. So if, for example, I don't get rid of estrogen very well, so I start to recycle it, and that gives you PMT. So that's no good for anybody. So because I've seen my estrogen pathway and how I don't detox it well, there's certain supplements I can take that mitigate that.
Yeah.
So I don't get PMT, and hopefully I won't get perimenopause, and I won't get a nightmare menopause, because it's written in my genes and we can supplement it.
Yeah. So you can be really proactive about your health, essentially.
Yeah, you've got to know about you. You can't just go on what Kim Kardashian's frigging doing. You know what I mean? doing anything I'm doing.
And for anybody who, most people on here, I think, probably do follow you anyway. But for anybody that doesn't, definitely follow Davinia's Instagram, because there's so much great advice. And also, you've got loads of great advice on finding out about this stuff in the first place, haven't you? So, you know, just, you know, the tests that you need to have, and how to understand your body better, and your DNA and your makeup and your gut health, etc., etc.
Yeah, I love gut health. I'm doing a talk actually with, she's now a friend of mine, Pippa Campbell. She's a nutritionist and she's really good with hormones actually. I'm doing that on Monday, and I'm going to dedicate an hour to just talking about poo. Love it.
Can't wait for that.
I mean, my dad did make toilet rolls, didn't he? Let's face
well,
it.
this is true. This is true. So,
always comes back to the poo.
So let's just rewind a little bit. So you've actually been to a rehab that's worked for you in conjunction with your own mindset. You know, what's the process then in terms of the person that you are now and the person that you are today? Because I think, you know, I've seen some of that transition in the time that you've been on social media and we've reconnected. You know, we saw each other the odd time in Knutsford, but mainly during that time, anything that I would know about you would be from the media. We hadn't actually spoken. So what happened between that point then and where you are now in life, and this newfound huge passion for health and fitness and nutrition?
I think I was actually sick of feeling sick, you know, and I didn't trust the process of just going to AA anymore. I didn't trust myself with just a spiritual program. So that's where I had to dig deep and literally find my genetic code and start using my skills to my advantage as opposed to anybody else's, and literally biohacking my way into my optimum health, being able to sleep better, being happy with my lot, having a deep sense of contentment. And also, I don't know, I just think connecting with my gut and getting my gut healthy has really helped my brain function at a better level than it ever has, really. I'm still a bit scatty. I'm still a bit, I don't know if I've got a little bit of ADHD about me, but can you hear my kids?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you go like that? Can I just
not too
can you have them in bed by 8:30? It's 10:17 here.
So
I run a tight ship. This is not a tight ship. This is a sinking vessel.
You've got to delegate and leave them to it. Unfortunately, I'm the worst at doing that. If Paul's still watching, he will tell you I am the worst at doing that. I don't delegate well. I delegate and then tell him what to do whilst I've delegated it. So
the force helped me. Yeah.
Since
listen,
we can
the dark
hear
side of the force is still very strong in me, my friend. I'll tell you that.
Since we can hear Matt in the background, at what point did Matthew come into your life? Because it and you know, has that helped you keep this journey going? Because you need, you know, I'm guessing that you need the right people around you. And maybe there's certain people that you can't have around you anymore, but you definitely need that.
Yeah, I mean,
security.
That just don't interest me. You know, I'm not interested in talking about fashion. I'm not interested in backstage gossip. I'm not bothered anymore. I don't think it ever bothered me, but I just thought it was a necessary evil to like stay in with the crowd. Matthew is definitely the most laid back person I know, as you can see by the schedule we've got going here. Heads will roll. But he's great. He supports me with my health. He reads just as much as me. He's really into his fitness as well. He's put on a bit of weight, so he's going to like hit it hard, and that'll be great because we just bounce off each other. Because, you know, I mean, when I was pregnant with Asa, he put on 2 stone.
Sympathy eating. Yeah.
So we've sort of like followed a very similar trajectory, and you know, he's a northern guy as well. I just love that sense of humor. He's from Oldham. He's so laid back, so funny, so handsome as well, and he's the best stepdad ever. So I'm really blessed to have him. I mean, I have kissed a few horrific. I mean, oh my God. And I look back, I'm like, what? But it's all self-esteem, isn't it? If you just think, look where your self-esteem was to what knobhead you were with. Yeah. You just like, and that you stayed with. Yeah. You just think, oh my God, I must have really felt pretty shit about myself. I mean, self-esteem drives so much of my behaviour, you know? So it's I think, a killer.
Would you say at the minute that you're feeling better than ever? I mean, you look amazing.
Thank
Are
you.
you feeling great inside as well?
Yeah, I do. I feel in control of my health. I know, and do you know what? It's another weird thing because I'm missing a gene because of all this virus going around. So if the kids get ill, I'll get ill. Matthew won't. But my gene code is I'm missing a certain gene. So I take a supplement, which is a precursor for, it's called NAC, and it's a precursor for our main antioxidant, glutathione. So if I hadn't known that, I'd have just thought I'm definitely getting the virus. But I think if I do get ill, really ill from it, at least I know I've tried everything.
Yeah.
To, you know, stay alive for my boys. Do you know? I mean, I just found out today that one of our family members has died in Walton. You know?
Oh God.
No, and it's really driven
of corona.
Yeah, he's only 50.
Oh jeez.
I know, and it just like my dad called me up, and I was like, "What?"
Wow.
Because you know, it's until then it's just on Sky News, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, what? And he says, yeah, they really looked after him in Walton, and you're just like, you can just imagine the hospital and everything. And Liverpool, I was like, oh Jesus Christ!
It's just crazy times, isn't it?
It is
crazy times.
It's mental. But at least,
and I think that's it. That's all you can do is just be the healthiest. Just be the healthiest that you can be. And you know, I saw on one of your lives the other day, you showed the picture. I don't know if everybody's seen the picture of before, and I think that's amazing because there's probably people watching.
Even my knees were bloated.
Yeah,
my knees. What were my knees doing getting involved with my cake?
That's when you know you've gone a step too far. I have been there.
But do you know what? Do you know, I mentioned this the other day actually, but I used to get away with it because I could always paint on cheekbones and I just wouldn't look from there down. I put my hair up and my face doesn't go that big. But I just like look in the mirror there and the rest of it could just go to hell. I've had 3 kids and this was before I had them before, never mind. So I'm just like, you know, I shoved a lot of, I've lost my mum, do you know, I'll do what I want. And do you know what? It was making me worse. It was just like the alcohol, the carbs, dopamine driven again. Carbohydrates combined with sugar, combined with horrible veg oil will just drive your dopamine levels up and you'll drop back down again. And it's just an addiction. The whole world's addicted to something. So you know, there's no need to be ashamed that you're addicted to sugar or you're addicted to gambling. The whole frigging world is because we're programmed that way. We're programmed to drive for something. And you know, it's a case of knowing what level your hormones are at and where to concentrate your efforts next time. It's so tricky to just be stuck in the house and not reach for a bag of crisps, followed by chocolate, and then to finish on some salty. And then you go back to the sugar again. I mean, it's never ending.
And if you mix alcohol into that mix as well,
forget it, game on.
Yeah.
Oh my God, me and alcohol, we're just like, it's just like game over. I'd see you next week if you're lucky. You know. And this is kombucha, by the way, if anybody thinks something.
I know. I've started to get into that because of you.
It's good for your gut. You know what I mean?
It.
If your gut is working, your brain's working. That's where you make your serotonin. That's where you make your happy stuff. It's not manufactured in your brain. It's not manufactured in your memories. Well, it could be, but the physical serotonin is literally made in your gut. So you may as well make the most of it and get all the gut healthy products that are out there and just load up.
Yeah, and I think when I was watching one of your lives the other day, I'm going to ask you about your top 3 tips. I want to ask you about your top 3 tips on 2 different things, actually. Top 3 learnings. But for managing your mental health, I know you firmly believe that, you know, your physical health and your gut health, and there's some kind of hacks, as you call them, as we call them, that you can do to kind of start yourself into improving your mental health.
Okay, so I believe in the brain's made of fat and it can run on sugars, but that's a short-term sort of solution. So I start my day with a bulletproof coffee, which is just coconut fat, and that fuels my brain so I don't get hangry, and it gives me that time for my gut to just rest and digest, which gives me energy, because digesting takes up so much energy. Just think, like, after you've had lunch, how knackered you are after 20 minutes, and then boom, you want sugar, because it's, once again, it's just your hormones playing, and you're taking up a lot of energy digesting. So I try and stay away from food until I want to really chill out. So I have bulletproof coffee, or you could have bulletproof matcha, or you could have a bulletproof. By bulletproof, I mean you mix MCT oil into it and make it into an emulsion. And that just really feeds my brain every day. I also supplement specifically for my needs. So I've had my genes tested, and I know where I've got weaknesses. Like I said before, my immunity's weak. It's missing an actual gene. And I'm also bad at clearing estrogen. So I take DIM supplements to get rid of my estrogen, and phosphatidylcholine, which breaks down fat as well. So hopefully the old cellulite will go, the ongoing battle. But for brain health, definitely, I need to supplement with B12 as well. I don't manufacture that. I've got a strange methylation system. So if I was anybody, I'd go and get my genes done. It's a one-time investment, and you've got a blueprint for your life, for the rest of your life. And every single, I got it done at Life Code GX, and I've got an offer going. I don't get paid, by the way. I've no affiliation. I just like this company and said, you know, do you want to just do a deal for everyone? I've already bloody paid. But Life Code GX do a really good one, particularly for women with that estrogen dominance and that estrogen detox system. It could change your life, really, and everyone else's and your families, you know. Yeah.
And will you post after this chat? Will you post that in your story or in your in a post on your page?
I'll get this edited that we've done. I'll get this edited, and I'll get a load of like supplements and everything put into it, so that if people want to whiz through it, and I'll put it on YouTube, and I'll send it to you as well, and you can post it. So you could have a Life Code GX, that DIM, and SYMPROVE's brilliant. I went to meet those guys at SYMPROVE, and they're not allowed to say it, but they're working with childhood cancer, and they're working with Parkinson's disease, and they have got results off the scale, but they can't promote it yet. So I will for them. So if anybody in your family's got cancer, get them on SYMPROVE and Parkinson's as well. In fact, I'm going to tell Kelly Osbourne, because her dad's got it, hasn't he? Ozzy.
Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Definitely post that. I'd be interested in having a look at that as well.
Another thing is cold showers. Have a cold shower. That balances your hormones. Just remember, it's the 20th century that when we started having hot showers, the body's not... You can have one, but finish off on 30 seconds and just shock your body. Once again, it's just getting your skin. Your skin is like a major organ, and it'll feel like it's under attack. And then when it realizes it's not, it'll suddenly calm down, and you'll get all those nice oxytocin sort of hormones coming through that make you feel contented and make you feel like you've achieved something. So just try that. That's free as well.
And that's something that everybody can do. It's like you say, it's free, isn't it? It's free. Everyone can do. You can start with that.
Yeah, for sure. That's how I started. That's when I started my weight loss. You've got to stick with it. You stick with it. You do it for a month. I bet people are saying that they've tried it and it's failed. How long did you do it for? Have you tried the Wim Hof? You've got the time now. Don't talk yourself out of a better life because you can't be fast, because that will just in your mind anyway.
Because it's slightly uncomfortable. So aside from health, you have been on a massive roller coaster journey to a really great place now. What are your top 3 learnings or top 3 tips that you would pass on to your younger self, say?
Right, don't get married until you're 40. Number 1. Definitely look after. I would completely put them on a different diet to what we've been brought up on. And do you know what? I just want them to be able to quantify themselves, see how many steps they're doing, watch what they're eating, watch what they're consuming. So check in with themselves, find out how they're actually feeling, give themselves that inner monologue so they know what's going on with them.
And they're more self-aware.
Yeah, I think we're very lucky to have kids in this day and age where we can have that dialogue. Because I was just left to my own devices, and we all know what happened then. Yeah. Got shabby. Really shabby.
Yeah.
Cool. What else would I say? And don't take drugs, kids.
Yeah. Don't take drugs. Take it easy on the alcohol.
I mean, if you're an addict, you're an addict. You're going to go there anyway. This is the trouble.
Yeah, one way or the other.
Pick up the pieces and just drive them back into rehab. Give them a click around the ear. But so I've got my eye on both, 2 of them in particular.
Yeah, of course.
Watching that dominance, and and I know what to do. I know how to navigate it. There's a brilliant IV called NAD+, which if we get cut out, I really need to get back onto that. And it's quite widely available in the States, and really posh rehabs offer it, but you don't get it on the NHS. And I won't give you the full Latin name, but it's NAD plus, and you have to have it every day for 5 days, and it will crush those alcohol cravings, because it does go into the dopamine pathway and it reprograms you. I didn't have that option when I got sober, but I've used it since, not for alcohol. I know there's a couple of practitioners in London that do it, and it makes you feel quite uncomfortable. So when I did it, I could just run, and I'd had this cold for, it was knocking on about 12 weeks, and it went overnight. Straight away, my sinuses were clear, and I had boundless energy, felt really positive. The addicted brain in me thought, oh, let's have another one. But obviously I held back.
Imagine what I could do with 2.
Oh, yeah, exactly that. But it's quite uncomfortable to have. It feels a bit like period pains all over your body, is the only way I can describe it. And it takes 6 hours. So if anybody is, I think NAD should be given with people who are having cancer. Actually, I think it needs to go together. And the doctor who I see, he agrees. He was the one who said to me, this should absolutely be given with people with cancer at the same time. But it depends if the oncologist is on board enough. This is the trouble. People are a little bit far behind because of testing and legalities. So basically, as you get older, your NAD levels deplete. So you know that old saying, you know, like when you had a hangover when you're 20, it's totally different to when you have a hangover when you're 40. That's because basically you're running out of NAD.
Right.
And that's responsible for so many body.
What does it stand for? Do you know?
Nicotinamide, Juliotide. I'll post it. It's long Latin-y thing.
Right. So it basically, it's a recovery hormone, or is it a hormone?
It's some vitamins as well. It's a complete vitamin package, but it is brilliant if you're currently craving alcohol and you can see no way out, and AA is not for you, because that's the only other way. If you go to your doctor, they will probably give you some diazepam and tell you to go to AA. Yeah, that's all they know. Because like I said, it's an epigenetic gene. It could be a genetic problem, an epigenetic problem. It could be trauma, you know. And basically, you've got something that's out of control, and you need the chemicals to bring you back. Yeah, and that's the only thing that I've found that I think will work. But of course, you've got to stay on top of it. You can't just rely on the NAD. You've got that breathing space. Then you have to start putting your life into practice. Then you have to start, I don't know, finding your thing. Is it yoga? Not me. I like running, you know. But people need to find their clique, their niche, and get onto it fast while you've got that respite before that demon alcohol comes back into your life, which it will do. It always will do. Yeah, yeah.
And how do you keep that demon at bay now?
Yeah, just eating well, keeping my gut primarily and my brain primarily clean, and making sure I get exercise every day, that I sweat every day. That really helps me. There's something about it that generates some endorphins that I need to focus on. And yeah, shopping is a major addiction. Again, it's your dopamine, it's your reward pathway. That's exactly the same as gambling. It's exactly the same as sex. It's exactly the same as cocaine. Shopping's just as serious. And I think there's an anonymous program actually for shopping. And basically now I just know, because it's where it's taken me, I know it just doesn't enter my mind. I associate alcohol with darkness and doom and losing my kids, losing my life. Yeah. So it just goes in tandem. I don't associate it with times. I can remember the good times, like we do in Wigan. But you know, that's a memory. It's like remembering my mum. Whereas if I look at alcohol through a forward trajectory, I just know what it's combined with. It's just combined with disaster. I don't see it as something tempting anymore.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. As is 11 years sober, so high five for that. That's incredible.
It doesn't fit. It doesn't actually. I don't even. It's like you forget your birthday. It's just like not even something. I celebrate.
It's just not part of your life anymore.
No, because
it's an old friend that you used to see, but you don't anymore. You've obviously built up a pretty good following for the health and fitness and nutrition online. Is that the path that you're going to be taking career-wise now?
Yeah, I mean, I do it as a hobby. Like I said before, I don't get paid. I don't have any affiliates or anything like that. So it's nice. And like I said before, I like talking to strangers. I've got a serious problem. So I'm happy doing all my DMs and everything and having a bit of banter with my followers and moan about our husbands or whatever. So far, it's nice, you know. I like chatting. I like spreading the word. I mean, I've got all this information because I read so much about sort of biohacking and health and well-being and why we do what we do to a compulsive level that I may as well, at least I can share it with someone. I know Matthew doesn't really give a shit what I've got to say. Like,
that's just standard practice.
Do I have to listen to PMC again? I'm really witnessing.
You need an outlet for it.
Exactly.
You also need to do a retreat. I keep telling you, you need to do it. I just want to come on a retreat.
I know, yeah, we should do something. We should just like do like a week biohacking somewhere and just like, I'll get you all cold, I'll get you all hot. I mean, if I could, I'd get an ice plunge and I'd get an infrared sauna and a running machine. That's all you need, really. And some good company and a laugh. Oh, and loads of supplements. Oh, and maybe an IV. You know, it's straight away. It's like,
I already know some of the things on your list. And also an aura ring.
And an aura ring. Oh my God, this is like, I love this. You've got to get one.
I know. Surely I looked at them yesterday, actually. I haven't got one, but I did look at them yesterday.
They are the best. The information you get out of this thing, it's got, I mean, if someone's got a diamond ring on, I'm like, how much? What, 10 grand? But what does it do? What does it tell you? You know what I mean? I've not got any diamonds on me at all. I've got my aura ring. And it's so good for sleep tracking. Because what I found out about sleep and why we find it hard to lose weight when we're older is when you go into sleep and you go into, you've got your deep sleep and then you've got your REM sleep, and your REM sleep is really good for your brain, and you know, it's like you're dreaming, so you're sort of like reconnecting neurons, so that's great. But also REM sleep, your body goes into ketosis, which is fat burning. And as you get older, your REM sleep goes down and down and down. That's why you need to supplement with magnesium. That's why you need to get a spike mat to set you into that nice deep sleep, that big REM sleep, because you need to have between 1.5 and 2 hours a night. And this aura ring tells me that. So if I don't have my REM sleep, I go, Matthew, I'm sorry, nothing's happening today. I am not
And somebody just put earlier on that you need to write a book, and I really think you do, because there's so much information. You need to write
There's so much information in this head. It's I need a lobotomy. I'd love to write a book, but you know what? They're really expensive to do, and maybe you know, do you remember me at college? I wasn't very good at coursework. I think I used to like.
You need a ghostwriter. Ghostwriter will do it for you.
I need someone to type. Type for me while I'm spieling it out.
Yeah. That's entirely possible.
Maybe I'll look into it. But I did speak to I tell you what I said. Like I said, I spoke to Paul Danan the other day, and he reckons that there's a part for me in a play he's doing. So I might go and tread the ball. Do that. But ideally, this is where my passion is, because I know it works.
Well, it comes across.
I might put what I said I was going to do. It just came to me the other day, because I'm doing all these live chats and everything. I'm going to set up a YouTube channel and put them all there, so everyone can just for free just go and be able to Google their own thing. Because I've spent thousands, and if you include rehab, hundreds of thousands on my mental. And I don't want anyone else to have to do that. Because it makes me get sick, actually.
Shortcut it.
I'm just going to shove it all on YouTube, and so you can just mitigate all the bullshit, all the Harley Street bullshit, all the hormone doctors that I've wasted my time more than anything, and just leave it there. And then you can sort of navigate your own tests, because there's so many tests out there that should all be in one place, so everybody, every man, woman and child can know where the warning signs are and mitigate them. It's crazy that we don't do this, because you've got genetic tests out there for like ancestral tests. They're really good. They're like, some of them are down at like 20 quid at Christmas, and you can see genetically where you're from, and all it takes is a bit of a Google to find out what their traditional food sources were, and boom, you've got your ideal diet. Not vegan, not vegetarian, not you know, the carnivore diet, not plant-based. It's what your genes respond to that makes the difference between you thriving or you surviving. I personally want to thrive. I don't like surviving. It's horrible.
No, I love it. I love it. I need to get on board with more of it. So should we take a few questions from the people that are online before we let you go? Although it has seemed to go quiet there. So bedtime has been put in order, I think. What was the biggest waste of money, somebody's asking? Health-wise, I'm guessing.
That'll be my wedding. My first wedding.
Yeah,
but I have a beautiful son and all that. Yeah. No, biggest waste of money. Actually, when I had Jude, which is number 4, and by the way, my name was Jude Cunningham in Hollyoaks, and I didn't think I was ever going to go back into. I know it's that I called my son, but it wasn't. It was. I didn't. It's just you know what I mean. I didn't mean to.
You've also got the lyrics to
Waste
Hey
of money
Jude as well, haven't you? So it's a favourite.
Yeah, so there you go. That's my dad with his investment again. Where do you think those lyrics are? In my house or in his? Yeah, Alan's. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I know rich girl, but trust me, Alan looks after Alan. So yeah, hormone doctor. I went. I'd finished breastfeeding Jude, and I felt. Obviously, when you're breastfeeding, you produce oxytocin and everything. And I've been warned off breastfeeding the other 3 because I've been wrongly put on bipolar medication and antidepressants. So I changed postcode and I went to see my GP, and he's like, "What the hell are you on? This would like knock out an elephant." So he slowly weaned me off that, and then I fell pregnant with Jude. So I was allowed to breastfeed him. And guess what? I didn't get the postnatal depression. Surprise, surprise, because my body was producing the right hormones because it knew it had a baby and it was producing milk. Yeah. Then when I stopped breastfeeding, the darkness came in. So I thought, aha, it's the hormones. So I went to this women's clinic in Belgravia, as you do, and I must have spent about $7,000 on hormones and testing them. And she was like this revered New Yorker who knew everything about women, and she was far better than anything in the NHS, blah, 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 the whole thing. I got seduced by it. I was on the phone to her. I remember crying on the phone to her, and I was in Spain. And I'm like, where's my hormone cream? Where's my hormone cream? And then she's like, I'll FedEx it to you. I'm in New York. And I had to pay for that to come over. And you know what? It was the time. I mean, she could have told me. I just got sucked into it and, wasted a fortune on that. And really what I needed to do was start balancing my hormones myself, and that began with cold showers because I couldn't physically get out of bed to go for a walk or see the daylight to get my circadian rhythm in sync, or go to a sauna to start sweating it out. I needed a cold shower, and that, like I said before, that was my first step into my physical and mental recovery as well. Yeah, it's brilliant, that cold. And if you can ever get to a cryo chamber, I really recommend it, particularly if you have sleep problems. The cold will sort you out. It's a bit woo-woo, but it's not woo-woo because now they've got scientific papers. So now I accept it. But I'm not going to go there just because Gwyneth Paltrow says she can stop off. I'll go there because there's a paper that's written on temperature and how it affects your hormones.
Yeah. Your face looks fab, somebody said. Are you using the face gym, and is it worth buying?
Yes, it is worth buying. I've got it here. No, it's not here. I've not used it actually for the past couple of weeks. What is not worth buying is the gel that they sell with it. You just need to get aloe vera gel, but it's definitely an investment because if you think about how much it costs, and I've not had filler now. I had filler there and I had it taken out. So I am without anything at the moment, and I've been really using it, but I've not used it since I've got here. I might actually just do half my face and for a week and see what happens as an experiment and see if you can see the difference. But I really like it. It's the strongest on the market. I've wasted money on one that I saw on Instagram. They had 2 balls there, a smaller one, a handheld device. That was rubbish. And as soon as I tried the face gym one, and your face twitches, you're really getting muscle movement. So yeah, but you don't need the gel. Just get aloe vera gel or another conductive gel like they use when you have an ultrasound or something like that, something that stays wet. Yeah, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. It's better than having filler put in your face because I've had a right disaster doing that. Of course I have. Tried everything.
Yeah. Where's the Aura ring from? I know the answer to that. Google it. It's online.
Yeah, Aura sell them. They're from the United States, and you get a little box. They send you a measuring kit, so they all come in different sizes, and you get like about 12 rings, and it's like $50 for that, but it comes off the end price. I think it's about $300 or something. Definitely worth it. I love it. It gives me non-stop entertainment, and it actually they're involved in the coronavirus study, because this has been alerting people that in the night they're getting temperatures, but the temperatures are dropping during the day, and they've been testing positive for corona. So corona is really sneaky. It's only letting you get a fever at night, so you could have had the corona without knowing it.
Yeah. God, there's so many questions on here. The other ones are about weight loss, which I think you've answered. And then I'll give you...
if you want a weight loss, I think the best diet to go on, unless you're going to go on a specific DNA diet, would be a paleo diet. Stick and have a look at where your ancestors are from and see what predominantly they used to eat. So if you're from Asia, more than likely you're going to have a lactose intolerance. If you're from northern Europe, you're going to definitely need fishy, oily fish because of the SAD, because of our dark nights. So I take an awful lot of extra oily fish. I always have loads of mackerel, loads of salmon, just to keep my brain from getting depressed. Little hacks like that will make you navigate it better. Just find out where you're from and just dig. We've got time. Bloody hell, Google.
And then finally, somebody asked where Asa's, which other of your sons did I've lost it. Where your sons' names came from. You've spoken about Jude anyway.
So Asa Matthew knew a really nice rugby player called Asa, and he just thought he was a nice guy, and it's a cool name. So, I mean, we didn't have much debate about that. I just thought Asa's really nice. And Asa, actually, out of all the boys, is the nicest one. He'll do anything for anyone. I can see him being a doctor or something. He's so fundamentally caring on that level. Lux means light in Latin, and I nicked that off Katie England. She used to be chief designer over at McQueen. Super stylish Katie England. So I nicked that one. And Gray was Mario Sorrenti's daughter's called Gray, and I nicked that one as well. Mario Sorrenti shot Kate way back in the day when she had like the Calvin Klein underwear on. He's a really cool.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
I stole.
You stole the names. Yeah.
Like, yeah. Just no original bone in my body. But everyone was kind of cool, apart from the Jude one. It looks really naff now, but
it doesn't. It doesn't.
When you get to number 4,
great
you just think, whatever.
Just call them anything.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been absolutely brilliant speaking to you. I've learned loads that I didn't know. You've been so open. There's loads of comments coming up just saying how authentic you are, how open you are.
Oh.
How honest you've been. So thank you so much for that. And like I said before, anybody that doesn't follow Davinia, follow her, because all of this health and fitness advice is all on her page and on her stories constantly.
And I'm going to start doing a section, because I'm cheeky as anything. I'm like my dad. I'll ask for discount in bloody boots. But I'm going to start doing a section where I just literally, cheeky as anything, I'll ask all these big companies, because I know they're all making masses of profit, and I'm going to try and get us at least 15% off all the things I regularly use, even if I can't get them because I'm in Spain. I've reached out to a few companies, and I said I'll do them a free post if they give us some if they give us some discounts. So I'm always after a bargain for everyone. And someone's right, you don't have to spend more than $19.99 on a spike mat, but make sure you get the pillow. And any celebrity that's endorsing it, bollocks. It's cheap as anything. It's from China and it's cheap and it works. The cheap one works.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. You're a superstar.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's keep in touch and I'll see you soon, okay?
Yeah. Bye.
Look,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye.